Good morning. This is going to be a bit of a different post, but I just kind of wanted to share my recent experience with flying United. That was a total disaster. So as most of everyone knows, I went to Detroit over the weekend with the ACLU for the Abortion Access Now. And I mean, what a fantastic weekend, a fantastic conference, and just meeting so many phenomenal individuals. There was a lot of different things that I learned that I, gained from the experience, tools that I will be taking to move forward with everything. But in order to get there, it was very messy. I was supposed to fly out of Great Falls on Friday at 2:30. I did not end up leaving the Great Falls Airport until after 4. My connecting flight was in Denver, and unfortunately, I missed it because the flight was so delayed leaving Great Falls. And so with that being said, then there were issues of finding me a new flight to get to Detroit. Unfortunately, I was not able to get another direct flight to Detroit from Denver, Colorado, because they didn't have any more. The only option for a direct flight wouldn't have gotten me there until after 5 p.m. on Saturday. So then I would have missed my entire conference. So instead, they rerouted me all the way down to Houston, Texas. So I was put on a flight and was headed down very south, very opposite direction of where I needed to go. That being said, United did not help at all. They did not offer me any hotel voucher, any meal vouchers, nothing whatsoever. And when they sat me on my plane down to Houston, I got probably one of the worst, I would say it's the worst seat in the plane. I was in the very, very back. I was aisle row. I was next to the toilets, and I was just smelling poo and jet fuel is all I smelled. I couldn't lean my seat back. There was nothing comfortable about that flight. They did send me an email. They said that it was to help with finding a hotel for, with a discount, with a discounted rate. And the email that they gave me was not very easy to, get through, to access. And on top of that, the so-called discounts, they were not discounts at all. I mean, we ended up finding a cheaper hotel. The ACLU obviously covered that expense. And they got me a hotel. So I had to take a lift after I landed in Houston, get over to the hotel because the shuttles were shut down at that point. I didn't arrive at my hotel until after 1 a.m. With that being said, my flight that I had to catch was at 8 a.m. with the Houston airport being super large, and especially with issues with the TSA and everything like that, I didn't want to take any chances on missing my next flight or anything like that. So once I was able to get to sleep, it was very well after like 1:30, 2 a.m. And so I needed to be up at 4 a.m. so that I could get up, get ready, and get dressed to show up to the conference. I ended up getting 2.5 hours of sleep and got up, made my flight, and then rode the bumpiest flight ever. That was super terrifying, and finally made it to Detroit. I did arrive after noon, so I had missed the first half of the day's conference, which was unfortunate, but at least, hey, I made it. And so once I arrived there, I didn't immediately check into my room. I just set everything down and headed straight for the conference. On top of what I consider to be more than just a minor inconvenience, this was a huge inconvenience because this cost me time at my conference that I was supposed to be at. It cost me the ability to get proper sleep. So I spent my entire weekend, traveling and just super sleep deprived, and also very hungry because on top of all of these issues in the airport, the food options were horrendous. They are insanely expensive, and it seems that they are getting the cheapest quality of food that they can while charging an extremely high price for everything. Just leaving Great Falls alone, I spent over $25 for a small Caesar salad that looked like the lettuce had not been washed, and they gave me a packet of Kraft Caesar dressing, along with I got a small bag of chips and a water, and that was over $25. If I wanted to add chicken, they wanted to charge me $7 to add chicken, which to me was asinine at that point. So obviously I just went with just the plain old salad. In Denver, I paid over $35 for one glass of wine because obviously I was very stressed out, and a bowl of brown rice, peas, carrots, some sort of cheap queso cheese, and at least this one came with chicken, so at least I got a little bit of protein. But it still was not very good. It was not very good quality, and it was just ridiculous how much that cost me. Once arriving to the Houston airport, obviously, I was very, very hungry. I was extremely exhausted. And so once again, I did attempt to get some solid food that, wasn't terrible quality for the price. And so I ended up with a breakfast burrito, which probably was the best thing that I had found yet at this point on this trip. However, it still was not great. In fact, I never saw avocado anywhere on the menu, and I had bunches of avocado in my burrito, which was highly disappointing. But on top of that, it was supposed to be a sausage burrito, and it basically was like having a sausage patty, just a regular size sausage patty that they chopped in half, and that was all of my protein that I got in quite a, regular size burrito, so it was pretty big compared to the amount of sausage that they put in there. This raises a lot of concerns for me because not only did United Airlines dismiss and not assist me with really anything, that I was highly, highly inconvenienced. I missed part of my conference that I was on my way to. And basically my entire 3-day trip I was traveling all 3 days, which was wild. I did not get good sleep. I was just insanely exhausted. I mean, as I've been saying, I'm getting too old for this stuff. It's really hard for me to, maintain that level to be able to, keep going on, absolutely no sleep. So, but these are issues that everyone who is trying to travel does face. And to me, that is getting out of control. It is absolutely ridiculous. I don't even understand why these airports are even able to charge that much, and also why these airlines are not taking this more seriously when their customers have been wildly inconvenienced because of delays that are out of their control. Like, they're out of my control, and now for me to end up in a place that I was not supposed to be at and get absolutely zero assistance, it did not make me feel very great at all about the entire experience. United did send me a survey to take regarding how they handled my situation, and obviously I had much to say on the issue because they didn't handle it very well at all. I mean, the fact that I know that the ACLU did come through and helped me with accommodations. However, I strongly believe that should have fallen on the airline itself. However, it didn't. I do know that one of my fellow ACLU people who was traveling back home on her way encountered a similar experience. However, I'm not sure what airline she was flying, but they were able to provide hotel voucher, meal voucher, things like that. And for me, I just feel like they did absolutely nothing for me to try to assist with the situation that I found myself in. I do understand that depending on weather, it will cause delays and these, issues will arise. However, I really do strongly believe that these airlines that are making an exorbitant amount of money off of people who are trying to travel, whether it's for business or pleasure or just anything at all, emergency, whatever, this should fall on them as their responsibility to ensure that these travelers are taken care of and are safe. Because I did not feel like I was taken care of, and I was traveling alone. It was just me. And, to end up in a place that I was not expecting, I did not make me feel good. I, had a bit of a meltdown, obviously. And so, these things are very important. And so the things need to be done to correct these issues when they arise. This was just my own personal grievance against United Airlines, and all I can say to them is do better. because that was absolutely ridiculous. From my seating, my uncomfortable flight, to the fact that I did not get assistance with accommodations or anything whatsoever, that to me is highly unacceptable. And also these airports, the prices that they are charging for stuff is absolutely ridiculous, and it is so unnecessary. It is price gouging at the highest level. Like, it's ridiculous, because once you're in the airport, you have no other options. So something needs to be done about that to address that. And we really need to take a look at that, because traveling like that should not cost you. I mean, I spent almost $100 just trying to get somewhat of a decent meal that I never was able to even get, because their options are not great. So if you're going to be charging those types of prices, I expect that the quality of food is much, much better than every single place I tried. Anyways, thanks for coming to my TED Talk over here. And I mean, obviously I'm home. I honestly, once I landed, I could have kissed ground. I was so happy. So, but anyways, that's all I have to say on this matter. I know it took me a few days to, address the issue, and this is my own personal issue. And also, this is a big shout out to United Airlines to, again, do better. So, everybody have a great day.